What if every major economic collapse in history, from the Great Depression to the 2008 meltdown, from the Asian crisis to the fall of empires, wasn't just a random accident? What if behind every crash, every panic, every so-called market correction, there was an invisible hand, guiding, profiting, and resetting the world's financial order? This isn't just a conspiracy theory. It's a pattern, a repeating cycle of creation, corruption, and collapse. And the deeper you dig, the clearer it becomes. Economic disasters don't destroy power, they transfer it. Welcome to Finance Illusionist, where we uncover the truths that shape our money, our nations, and our future. Today, we re-peeling back the layers of history to expose the secret hand behind every economic collapse, the one that's been quietly steering global finance for centuries. From ancient gold merchants to modern central bankers, the story of economic collapse isn't about failure, it's about control. Our story begins not in Wall Street, but in Florence, Italy, 14th century. The Medici family pioneered something revolutionary: banking without borders. They didn't just lend money, they created influence. By financing kings, popes, and wars, they learned a timeless lesson: greater than he who controls credit, controls history. From there, power evolved. Goldsmiths in London began storing other people's gold and issuing paper notes, the first modern money. But soon, they realized something far more profitable. They could issue more notes than gold they actually had. And just like that, debt became a business model, a tool to grow wealth out of thin air, and to own the future before it even existed. Fast forward to 1694. England, desperate for money to fund a war with France, turned to private bankers. In exchange for lending the government gold, these bankers were given something extraordinary: the power to issue currency backed by government debt. That was the birth of the Bank of England, and with it, a new illusion began: the illusion that governments controlled money. In truth, money began controlling governments. As centuries passed, this system spread like wildfire. The Rothschild family, the Rockefellers, the Morgans, names that would come to define power itself, built empires not through industry but through leverage over nations. When wars broke out, they financed both sides. When peace returned, they financed the reconstruction. And each time the world sank deeper into debt and deeper into their system. But every illusion needs a breaking point. And in 1929, the roaring stock market, built on easy credit and speculation, finally imploded. Millions lost everything. Banks failed overnight. And yet, while ordinary people starved in bread lines, the same financiers who had fueled the bubble were quietly buying back assets for pennies. The Great Depression didn't end their power, it cemented it. In 1933, under President Franklin D. Roosevelt, the U.S. government seized private gold and replaced it with paper currency. People thought it was reform. In reality, it was transfer of wealth from the public to the system. By the end of World War II, a new order emerged: the Bretton Woods system. The U.S. dollar became the global standard, backed by gold. But that gold promise wouldn't last forever. In 1971, President Richard Nixon shocked the world. He ended the dollar's convertibility to gold, turning global currency into pure paper debt. From that moment on, money was no longer tied to any real asset, became a belief system backed only by government promises and public trust. The result? Uncontrolled debt growth, endless inflation, and financial markets detached from reality. Banks learned they could create credit at will. Governments learned they could spend without restraint. And the global elite learned they could inflate away the value of your labor while multiplying the value of their assets. Every crisis since, from the Latin American debt trap to the Asian financial crisis to the 2008 meltdown, follows the same playbook. 1. Create cheap credit. 2. Inflate assets. 3. Pull the plug. 4. Buy everything on sale. In 2008, we saw the same story replayed. Banks gambled with toxic assets, crashed the system, and were bailed out with taxpayer money. Not a single top banker went to jail. Instead, they got bonuses while millions lost their homes. Then came quantitative easing, the printing of trillions of dollars. Markets soared. The rich doubled their wealth, and the gap between the elite and everyone else exploded. Today, the cycle continues, just digital this time. Governments talk of central bank digital currencies, CBDCs, programmable money that could track, control, and even restrict how you spend. Debt, once invisible, is now becoming digital chains, locking future generations into systems designed by the same hidden hands that collapsed economies centuries ago. And while headlines distract us with politics, the real story remains buried beneath. A system that profits from chaos, survives every crash, and emerges stronger every time. After every collapse, the world demands reform. New laws, new regulations, new promises. But time and again, the reforms are written by the same institutions that caused the disaster. The fox keeps redesigning the henhouse, because the system isn't broken, it's working exactly as intended. Every crash is a cleanup. Every bailout is a reset. And every new beginning is just another turn of the same wheel. So, what can we learn from centuries of manipulation and collapse? First, money isn't neutral. It's a tool of power designed to move wealth upward, not outward. Second, every economic crisis hides a transfer of ownership, not just loss. What you lose, someone else gains by design. Third, the illusion continues only as long as we believe the system is natural. But once we start asking who benefits, the spell begins to break. We stand today at the edge of another transformation: digital currencies, algorithmic trading, and financial systems run by code instead of conscience. But remember, technology changes, power doesn't. The same hands that controlled the gold, the paper, and the credit now reach for control of the code. The question isn't whether another collapse will come. It's when and who will own what's left when it does. So stay curious, stay skeptical, and never stop learning how money really works. Because once you see the illusion, you can never unsee it. Eye-opening, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Join us at Finance Illusionist, where we uncover the truths they don't teach in school and expose the systems that shape our world.